Hey, pro organizers, it's Melissa, and I am about to tell you something that if you enjoy the podcast, which I hope that you do because you're listening to me right now, maybe you stumbled upon me by accident looking for a true crime podcast. This is not a true crime podcast, so you might want to mosey along. But if you want to start a business and be a really great organizer, you can just stay and listen. But anyway, I'm going to give you 3 podcasts this week. It's Podcast Palooza because we have such an in-depth topic to talk about. This is more like a mini workshop than a podcast. Or it's one of those podcasts where you open it up and you're like, wow, this podcast is 17 hours long. It's not going to be 17 hours long, but it is going to be about an hour and a half. So buckle up, you guys. This is a continuation of our series where I have gone back and given you the content that we delivered at the How To Summit in Dallas in September. We did this as a workshop. And so not everyone was able to come and hear that workshop. There were other workshops going on. You had to pick. And so we just want to make sure that this information gets out to everybody and anybody because AI is absolutely the new frontier. And it's something that really scares a lot of people, or it just makes you unsure or you don't know about it. We're going into everything that you need to know, from the basics all the way through how to do some really in-depth stuff in your organizing business and really leverage this as a tool. My friend, my business partner, Cabri, is with me. And Cabri is the reason that I really started to dive into AI. I'll tell that story, but she is here. Now, so we say this in the podcast, but I want to actually start out by saying it as well. If you go to proorganizerstudio.com/links, you will be able to follow along on the slides, and you can follow along on video if you prefer. Or you can listen while you're on your way to a client, and then maybe tonight you want to go check out the video, because some of the things that we're going to be talking about do have slides that it would be helpful to articulate what we're talking about visually. So I would love for you to have all of the options to listen to this. proorganizerstudio.com/links. That link will also be in the show notes, which is at all the words at the bottom of this podcast page, wherever you may be listening. And then the last thing I'm going to say is in the last week, I've had a couple of curveballs thrown at me. And originally, our Inspired Organizer enrollment was closing, if you're listening live or super on time, today, November 4th. I have extended that because I wasn't able to get as much information out about the program as I wanted to because I was super sick last week, which is awesome. It's absolutely 5-star experience. And just a couple other things happened in my life, and that's life, right? Like, we get these curveballs. So I'm giving everyone another week if you want to decide to join us. That will also be at proorganizerstudio.com/links, or you can email me at hello@proorganizerstudio.com. If you have questions, if you want me to just tell you anything you want to about the program, I would love to have you. And I would love to help you improve your business, get more clients, increase your revenue, make your goals, all those things. Okay, it's time to dive in to the great big world of AI. This is part 1 of my conversation with Cabri. Have a great day, organizers. Cabri, welcome back to the 755th time.
Hello. I'm glad to be back.
We gave a workshop at the How To Summit 3 times in a row. And by the end, I feel like I'm not entirely sure what I was saying. Did you feel that way?
Absolutely. I
was hallucinating.
Yes, it was like a blackout. And I was like, man, I hope I mentioned that one thing I was supposed to say. And yeah, we'll never know.
I was like, I think I said that, but did I? And then there was at one point, I think in the 3rd workshop, where I was like, did I already say this at another time? But anyway, we're not going to do that to you today. Today, you get fresh, ready to go us. I want to just back up and say, I want to thank you because you are the reason that this exists. Because what happened was, I like to think that I'm up on a lot of things, right? I know a lot of things, and I try to make sure that I'm up on topics that are out in the universe that are important to organizers. And what happened was, Cabri would text me just out of the blue and be like, hey, have you done blah, blah, blah on ChatGPT? And I'm like, pardone? I do not know what you were talking about right now. And she was doing all of this, really crazy inventive stuff and really using AI in a very intelligent way. And so I just was like, please, sensei, teach me your ways. And we eventually just said, hey, we're going to put this together. And I learned a lot from you because you just basically were like, I'm going to figure this out. Is that fair? Like, how did you get into it? I guess is a better question.
If you had asked me like 6 months ago, I was still using ChatGPT. Hey, what groceries do I need to make this recipe? Like very basic.
Yeah.
And then we're going to blame it on the ADHD and those obsessive behaviors where I just went down the rabbit hole. And then it was podcasts and TikToks and it was everywhere for me. And then suddenly once it's everywhere, you learn all the different ways to use it. And so it became very immersive very quickly.
And it was a combination of you and one of my best friends who uses it all the time for really in-depth work stuff. She has a corporate job. She does some really inventive things with it. And she would start telling me like how she was using it. And by the way, she was using it as a combination of meal prep, life prep, exercise, and then work and everything else. And so between the two of you, I was like, man, I'm really missing the boat. And then I got up to speed and have realized how many things I've really missed out on. And then the cool thing is, and we'll talk about this a little bit, but after our seminar, we had some people that started to implement some of the things we talked about, and they are doing things that I'm like, oh my gosh, that is genius. And I'm just excited by how much people really left our session, and I felt like really went out and then used the information. And so that's the goal of this podcast too. We just want you to go out and try it.
I want AI to be accessible and not scary, not overwhelming. I want it to be another one of those tools that you can use in your business that buys you back time.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we are going to do is we are going to go through our workshop that we gave, and there are slides to follow along. So I did this. If you listen to my podcast or I did my own main stage presentation, we're going to do the exact same thing with this. If you would like the slides and if you would like to follow along, just go to proorganizerstudio.com/links. And you can either watch us on video or you could just download the slides and follow along on your own. But we would love to have you get these slides so that you can listen and we don't have to overly explain what we're doing. So, you ready?
Let's go.
So, we are just going to do a quick introduction. Obviously, you know me. I am here full-time at Pro Organizer Studio. I also have a professional organizing business, Home by 11, in the Minneapolis area. And with Cabri, I co-own organizernearme.com. And I love talking about this stuff. Cabri, who are you?
I am the founder of Minimized and Organized based in Lubbock, Texas. I have a slight other collection of businesses that I enjoy in the home service arena. But then also help on Organizer Near Me. And most importantly, this is probably my favorite part, I get to be a mentor in our Inspired Organizer community. Like Melissa said earlier, I'm always trying to stay ahead of the curve so that I can actually help everyone with all the things that are constantly changing in our world.
You find all the new things. And sometime, well, we're going to have to do a separate podcast on all your other businesses because they're all fascinating, but it's not for today.
Yeah.
So the first thing that we want to start out with is just asking you how you feel about using AI. And when we asked this in the room, a lot of people ended up in this middle category. But the first category is, I basically have absolutely no idea. I've never opened ChatGPT. I know the very bare minimum about it. The second category is, you know what? I know a little bit about it. I've done some searches. I've used some prompts. I've used it in a couple ways, but I know that there are ways that I can be using it better in my business. And then the third category is, listen, I know everything about ChatGPT. I know everything about AI, and I could probably be teaching this, or I could probably be leading this podcast. Most people were in that middle category where they're like, hey, I've used it a few times, but I really don't know. And that's where I was, honestly. So when you started pushing me, I was in I've totally used it, but I haven't really opened my mind to all of the possibilities of how I could use it for my business. So assuming that most people listening are probably in the first and second category, very proud of you if you're in that third category of, hey, I'm an ACE user. But I think this is one of those examples of, even if you are pretty experienced, there is always something new to learn. Always.
Even the people who raised their hand and said, I'm well-versed, I'm an expert in it, almost all of them came up after our workshops and said, oh, hey, I learned something new, or I learned a new way to use AI. And so that was really affirming to hear too.
And they also, the nice thing is that they taught us some stuff, which we'll talk about in a little bit too. So what we are going to be covering today is we're going to talk about how AI can be a useful and a profitable tool for your business. That's really our main goal always in everything that we do here. We want things to be good for your business and profitable. We want you to find and get started on an AI platform. So there are lots of different platforms to choose from. We're going to walk you through a few of those. We are going to be talking about creating, editing, and defining prompts, which are what really, that's where the kind of the money, that's where the major magic of AI comes in, is that you get really good prompts. And we're going to talk about what the difference is between an okay prompt and a great prompt. We are going to talk about using AI for audits and automations in your business. And then we're going to talk about a lot of other AI tools, so way beyond what you might have already thought of, so that you can use AI to achieve your longer term goals. AI is a tool that you can use for both tactical and strategic things in your business, and we want to teach you a little bit more about that. And what is AI? When we say AI, everybody knows what that means, but do you really know what AI is? So AI just stands for artificial intelligence. And it's basically a technology that allows computers to perform tasks that usually take human thinking, okay? So recognizing patterns, answering questions, brainstorming, things like that we typically do in our own brains, we could just get in the world's fastest assistant. So one of the things that my husband talks about a lot is we'll ask a question like, oh, what was that? What was the name of that movie or whatever? And he always goes, if only we had the world's fastest computer just sitting in our pocket, if only. And we're like, we do. But AI is essentially the smartest, fastest digital assistant that you can possibly have. And the thing about AI is it can allow you to work so much faster. It does things in seconds that would take us hours and hours to do. So we're really trying to be efficient and save our time. One of my favorite statistics, and I've talked about it before on the podcast, but it's been a while. We get more information in one day than most people in the 1850s got in their entire lifetime. Just think about the number of things you've consumed today. All of those things are out on the internet, and it's just a volume of information that humans can't adequately process. So the cool thing about AI is it's taking all of that information and it's really distilling it down for you so that you can use it more effectively. AI is everywhere, and you may or may not have been paying attention to it. So if you're following along on the slides, I have something up on the screen, and I just Googled the question, what is the How-To Summit? And so if you've Googled something recently, you might see at the top of the page, before you get to a link, before you can click on anything, it gives an AI overview. This overview says, here's what the How-To Summit is. Here's what you can expect. It's distilling all that information from all the different parts of the internet and giving you a synopsis. The other place that AI is, if you go to any website, so think about service providers that you have or anything else, there is almost always now a virtual chat option. There's that little chat button and you go, oh man, I really hope that I get a real person. Nope, not a real person. It's usually an AI bot. But the great thing is that those AI bots actually have a lot of answers. So yes, you may need to get a human at some point, but there are a lot of things. And I gave an example just typing something into Canva about how to create a document with AI. So use those chat bots because they actually have a lot of really great information. But the point is that AI now is absolutely everywhere, and you're interacting with it whether you intend to or not. Okay, so what is AI for organizers? So I know, Cabri, in your business, you use it a ton of different ways. Can you tell us a little bit about how you guys use it at Minimized and Organized?
Basically everything. I tried to list out some of the things that we've used it for, like on this slide, but everything from onboarding materials, standard operating procedures. I use it to brainstorm, especially when there's too many thoughts in my head and I need to organize my own head. All of our content, all of our marketing plan, we have different AI chats for different channels and different ways that we're using that. I have had ChatGPT review my proposal and my project and my contract, and we really use it for, it's a daily thing in our business. Even if it's not originally creating something for us, it is one of those things that I use as a fact checker, as a grammar checker, as a, hey, where else could we use, what else could we do here? Yeah.
It is absolutely amazing for so many different parts of your business. And basically, what we wanted to get out of both our workshop and this podcast is we just want to open your mind to all of the potential things it could do for you. When you think about all those little things in your business that you're like, oh, I guess I have to do X, Y, Z. Oh, I can't believe I have. There are so many things that you can put into ChatGPT or your AI weapon of choice and get it done. I was having a conversation with someone the other day in our Inspired Organizer group, and she was talking about her Google Business posts, and I was like, you could go on AI and you could feed in, you could say, this is my Instagram. Can you please turn these into Google Business posts? There are a million things you could do that it would take you hours and hours. It'll take ChatGPT about 30 seconds. So tons of things in your business and in mine too. Okay, so one of the things that Cabri and I believe very strongly is that business owners who capitalize on tools like AI are going to have greater revenue growth. You're going to have higher profit margins. And by the way, AI can help you figure out how you get some of those things. You can ask it questions and you can feed in your information and say, how can I grow revenue? What if I raise my prices $5 an hour or $10 an hour? We want you to have a larger piece of your marketplace and win over your competitors who aren't using these tools. And I will tell you, as someone who's been coaching organizers for a long time now, that I hear quite a bit, not daily, but it feels like daily sometimes. I hear the phrase, I'm not techie. I'm not technical. I don't know how to do these things. I don't know how to do X, Y, and Z. And what I said at the How To Summit, and I stand by this statement, is in the year of our Lord, 2025, you do not have the luxury of saying, I'm not techie. In 1993, when I started college and I had to go to the basement of the chemistry lab to send an email on an MS-DOS computer, that is a totally different timeline, right? But we are in a time where you have to be minimally dangerous on technical stuff. Otherwise, entrepreneurship is going to be a little bit of a hard slog. Do you agree with that, or did I just give a rude hot take?
No, I definitely agree. I think that as business evolves, tech is a part of that, and you have to go evolve with it. Otherwise, the outcome is probably not going to be fabulous.
Yeah. The pace of technology I totally get is it's stressful, especially if it's not your native. If you weren't a digital native, which many of us in the organizing industry were not, I know that it can feel overwhelming, but one of the things that I will always tell people is there is so much support available. I call it YouTube University. There are a million videos on YouTube that you can go and start to learn some of these things and really just be intellectually curious and trying to figure it out. But I want you to get rid of the phrase, I'm not techie, in your vocabulary. I think it's really important for us to not say that. The other thing that I hear a lot from organizers specifically is AI is cheating. And one of the things that we had on the screen was a picture of Henry Ford, the inventor of the Model T, and obviously Ford Motor Company. And he had a phrase that said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Okay, so cars would never have been invented if Henry Ford had said, hey, what are you looking for? So you have to use these tools that you've been given, and it is a tool. So I've used the word tool. It is a tool. It is not a replacement. It's not a replacement for humans. It's not a replacement for our thought processes. But it is a replacement for a lot of time spent on things that are not valuable. And your time is money. I want you to think about the next time you're struggling over something, even if it's only 15 or 20 minutes. If you charge a client $100 an hour, that 15 minutes is $25. Your time is money. So if AI can do something for you in 30 seconds that it would take you 3 hours, you have saved yourself, in my opinion, $300. It's budget-friendly outsourcing. The other thing it does is, I used it the other day to do some analysis on a website. And the analysis it came up with was so thoughtful, I wouldn't have come up with it myself. And so we talk about it promotes creative thinking, and I think that's a big part of it too. Do you have any thoughts on the AI is cheating commentary?
No, because I love AI and I use it all the time. And I do use it as a tool. So I'm going to touch on the creative thinking part. I use AI often, and it is constantly offering me more. So I'll ask, I need help inputting some keywords for this blog. Can you help me do that? And then suddenly it spits it out and it's, oh, hey, would you like email lead magnet opt-in here? And would you like to add an affiliate link here? And in regards to like, is it cheating? No, I don't believe so. I really think it's going to help fill the gaps in your business that you may not even recognize are there. It's such a powerful tool. It's going to help you clean up, streamline, fill the gaps on all those little things that constitute as time is money and your time is worth something. And we want to make the most bang for your buck, essentially, and build a strong business. It's going to help you do all those things.
I think that I've heard this phrase about it being cheating so much, and that's why we had to put it in the presentation, because I've heard so many people say it, but I'm like, we don't say that about Excel, right? We don't say, oh, I have a spreadsheet. I should probably be adding all these things up with a pencil and paper, right? No, we use Excel to make spreadsheets. Is that cheating? I don't think so. This is the same thing. It's just we're using a tool that has been given to us by very smart people. So
it's a new age tool that has a lot of unfamiliarity, and that causes people to stress about it.
Feels a little scary. All right. So the other thing too is, and this is one that I really urge you to look up, because it really is, it's something that you need to see rather than have us describe. But the other thing that a lot of people are afraid of, and I understand this, is AI will replace me. And so we had a picture that Cabri put together that said, AI will make designers obsolete. And it's basically showing handshakes of people with many wrists, extra hands, all sorts of things. So I really want you to go look it up. But AI can't replace human connection. Obviously, AI is not going to organize a house, right? AI is still going to be something that you can use for those tasks in your business that you are too tired to do because you are busy worrying about your clients and thinking about your clients and other things. Okay, so if you are a beginner, we're going to get started with AI. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the platforms that are out there?
Okay, if you're looking at the slides, I dropped some of the more popular, well-known AI platforms. And when I tell y'all, I was not using AI religiously like I do today, even 12 months ago. And so this list is not even scratching the surface on all of the different AI platforms, plugins, widgets, help desks, all the things that AI is embedded into now. But I did list some of my favorites. I am definitely a ChatGPT girl. I am waiting for the day that my ChatGPT just really messes something up. And I'm just like, nope, I'm done. I'm over it. Hasn't happened yet, luckily, but ChatGPT is one of those kind of full service suites. Claude, Perplexity, Gemini are also some options. You have some specialty options. One of the ones that was also mentioned at the How To Summit was Otter AI. And so I'm seeing organizers use that when they walk into a client's home to do an in-home consult. It is recording and summarizing notes for the client. And I absolutely love that as a tool, especially if you have a team and you need to communicate all those little funky details about someone in their space very quickly, succinctly. Script is another fabulous one that I know Melissa uses for.
Love the script.
Yeah. I know she uses it for podcasts. She gives us recaps. Someone asked about a past Zoom call in our Inspired Organizer group the other day, and she was like, oh, here you go. The AI recap said it was at minute 15 and 34 seconds, and just makes life so easy. And then another one that I like is Canva Magic Write. I haven't used that one as much as ChatGPT, but I have played with it a little bit. And then almost all, I would say this is a pretty bold statement, but almost all of the CRM platforms that you can use, whether that's 17 Hats, Dipsado, Honeybook, they are also incorporating their own AI tools within the platform. And it's really everywhere. My recommendation would just be to start with one and get familiar with it. I think whenever I got started, I really was just using it to say, hey, I have this in my pantry and my fridge. Make me a recipe. Or here's my recipes that I need for the week. Tell me what I need to get from the grocery store. And you can get started that simply.
Yeah. I would appreciate if you stopped talking about recipes, because we're recording this podcast and my office is attached to my kitchen and dinner is done. And so you keep talking about food and Tim is cooking food right next to me, and it's starting to be a problem. So also, I will say I got a point at trivia last night because Gemini was an answer to one of the trivia questions. The category was zodiac signs, and it was things that are named after zodiac signs. And it was like Google's, and I didn't even need the rest of it. I was like, Gemini, got it.
That is so impressive.
It was really I was like, oh, Cabri got me a point. But the point is, there are absolutely tons of different platforms. And HoneyBook is a good example of, if you use HoneyBook, you might not even know that they have an AI agent. One of them that my friend Missy has been talking a lot about this week is Fixer, Fyxer for email. She is doing a trial on it and said it has done some absolutely amazing things for her. So just start looking around and then get comfortable with one. I know I have used Canva Magic Write quite a bit and it's really good, but ChatGPT to me is still the one that is like the pinnacle. To me, it feels like it's the best, but that's probably in the eye of the beholder.
Absolutely. Okay, so if you're unfamiliar with using AI in any capacity, I would really just recommend starting your week off Monday morning as things come up in your life, especially if you have an admin day. Just see how ChatGPT could help, or another AI platform could help. We use it for meeting recaps, social media content, blogs, a lot of our marketing ideas, brain dumps, outlining processes. We use it for everything. And so I would just recommend sit down. If you have something that you are working on in the moment, go to ChatGPT, go to another AI platform, see if it can help you. Type in a prompt, give it the option, see if it's good. I'm going to give you some tips on the prompting portion later, but it's definitely one of those muscle type analogies. The more that you use it, the stronger it gets. And that's super important to recognize, because the more you use it, the more confident it will get. There's also an internal algorithm that it learns you. It gets to know you and how your business operates and how you want things to feel, or the tone of voice that you like to use in your social media content. And the more that you use it, the easier it becomes to get the content that you want out of it.
It is so smart about being able to read tone and read just personality, for lack of a better phrase, is it can really understand how you go into things. And we'll talk a little bit about how you can train your AI also, but it picks it up really quickly.
I'm going to tell you this, but I was working on an email newsletter and I was like, man, the words were not working for me and it needed some pizzazz. And so I was like, please write this in the tone of Melissa Klug from Pro Organizer Studio. And it spit out like the most perfect email. And I read it and I'm like, it's her voice in my head. These are words I have heard her say. So it's fascinating.
You're like, please write like the crazy person that I work with. So it really is, because we all do have it. By the way, if you're doing it right, you should have your own voice and your own style. And that's what we want you to do, is we want you to take ChatGPT or whatever AI agent that you're using. We want you to use it as a starting point. It's not the ending point. We want you to add your own feeling, your own thoughts, your own words, but it's good to just have that structure. So,
oh yeah. So it's not perfect. That's like the one thing that I always remind people. I know.
Are you trying to tell me that everything on the internet is not true?
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
It's not perfect. Sometimes you do have to help it along. Melissa told everyone I used ChatGPT to create this presentation. And when I sent it to her, proofread was spelled correctly. So
the word proofread on this slide actually said proofreef, which is definitely not how you spell it.
No. So close, but
it was really close.
Not it at all. So you do have to babysit it and double check your work. I even have asked it before to cite me sources on where it's pulling information if I'm pulling stuff from the interwebs for a specific topic or purpose. It also can be a little characteristic when it comes to its like language and whenever it's spitting stuff back out to you. And so certain things that over time you just recognize and can pinpoint. And so M dashes is one of those for people. A lot of kids are getting kicked out of their college classes because of using M dashes and people being afraid that it's a AI plagiarism type thing.
Some people we realized didn't know what an M dash was. So it's basically and by the way, I use them all the time when I am actually writing things. So now I'm going to be accused of the same thing, but it's basically when you use a dash instead of a comma or a semicolon or whatever. I use those all the time and I always have.
Yeah, no, me too. And I've had to like tone it back because I don't want people to think it's not authentic. Emojis is also like a ChatGPT thing. And I don't know if that's for all AI platforms, but the emojis, they're just structured in a way that you can spot it from a mile away if you're used to looking for it. And so you get to help your AI model essentially edit or review. You can tell it, hey, I don't want any emojis, and it won't put them there, which is nice. So you do have to hold its hand a little bit through that process though.
What is your personal stance on emojis? I don't know that we've ever talked about this.
I love emojis.
Yeah, I do too. I use them all.
I use them even in like emails. So people say it's not professional. I'm like, it's my business. I get to do what I want. And I use
it's
them
personal.
all the time.
I also am a big fan. I put GIFs and stuff too, quite a bit. GIFs, GIFs, whatever you want to call them. And I know that some people also would say that those aren't professional. They really make me happy. And that's pretty much all that matters to me.
All of the people who are not an inspired organizer have no idea. Like the gifts, like on a weekly
So many.
basis for check-ins and accountability, and they're always fabulous. And I
I
don't
like a
know
little
how
bit.
I don't know how you find like all the coolest ones to post.
I have my ways. But I don't know. I just think like it makes people pay attention a little bit more. Or maybe it just makes me pay attention a little more. I don't know. But instead of just like a boring paragraph of stuff, throw a funny GIF in there. GIF, whatever.
It's very on brand for you.
Yeah, there you go. So I have to train my ChatGPT to make sure it uses plenty of them. One of the things when we say you do have to check it though, is there was a story recently about a lawyer. Lawyers have to submit like very long briefs when they're doing a case. And a lawyer submitted a brief that was written by ChatGPT, and it contained a bunch of fake cases, a bunch of very wrong information. And he got in trouble. And so there is starting to be more of this. You talked about it earlier. Like there are kids getting kicked out of college classes. There are definitely downsides. And so we just want people to be careful. And so, for instance, you can use it to do some social media posts, but double check them. Don't throw them up without taking a look at them first.
Especially on something that important and very legal.
I know we're not like doing legal cases, but even just things, if you're putting up a blog or whatever, just make sure you're reading them really carefully. Okay, we're going to talk about prompts. This is like really where the rubber meets the road, because the prompt is the most important part, don't you think, of how to get a good result out of ChatGPT?
Absolutely.
Okay, we have reached the end of what we're doing for today. I have broken this up into 3 parts. Don't be upset. It's really just to help save you and your ears, because there's a lot of information in here. So I want to make sure everybody can get the information and then go really absorb it and implement it and all the things. Part 1 is up now. Part 2 will be up tomorrow if you are a live listener. And if you're not a live listener, part 2 is there. So there you go. And then part 3 will be up the day after. I'm not messing around this week, you guys. 3 podcasts. It's very exciting. Okay, once again, if you want to follow along, if you want the video version of this, go to proorganizerstudio.com/links. And P.S., I have a P.S. for you. I will put the entire video will be up there when I get all 3 of the podcasts published. So you can watch it all at one time, one glorious hour-and-a-half long time if you want to. Yeah, it's an hour-and-a-half long because AI is very meaty subject, you guys. Stay tuned for tomorrow where we're talking about prompts. Prompts are what make the magic happen in AI. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. By the way, if you're listening to this, our Inspired Organizer program, you have 1 more week to join until November 11th, 2025. Then enrollment is closing. The price will be going up. And lots of other things are changing. We're changing a lot of things in IO for 2025. So if you want to get in for lifetime access and all the things, please hit us up. That is also at proorganizerstudio.com/links. Smooches, organizers.